Oh hi, it's me again! I talked about Sonic and the Secret Rings for 21 minutes and 15 seconds, and it turns out, I still like it. I mean, yeah, it's got its problems, but it doesn't come close to me, to being one of the worst Sonic games of all time. On-rail Sonic can work, and it turns out, they did it again. The madmen. But did you know that Eggman is a romanticist, a feminist, and a self-professed gentleman? Maybe you did, but one thing you may not know is this video is sponsored by Nordpass.
Let's face it, we all have too many passwords to keep track of. Just off the top of my head, I have different passwords for streaming, gaming, banking, food services, and who knows what else. Sure, there's password managers, but are they truly safe? Especially when weak or common passwords are still one of the most common methods for hackers. And considering that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the most popular password online, it's not exactly difficult for them. That means they could access your email, your bank account, or even your medical records. It's not something any of us want to happen, so fortunately there's our sponsor for today, Nordpass, to not only store your passwords, but to keep them safe. With Nordpass, you can generate secure passwords and easily store them so they're not so complex that even you don't remember. Even better, Nordpass Premium syncs these credentials across 6 of your gadgets, making it so you stay logged in when switching devices. And if your account information is leaked online, Nordpass Premium includes a data breach scanner to help identify where and when the leak happened and what type of data was compromised. And that's just security measures, as it can make shopping and browsing faster thanks to its storage features. So many things can happen to heap on unwanted stress. Don't let password management be another example. Fortunately, you can get exclusive access to Nordpass's best offer here, or use the code GoodVibesGaming at the checkout to get an additional month for free. And if you find yourself not enjoying the service for whatever reason, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's super simple and super fast, just like Sonic. Now, if only it could be super handsome like John. Speaking of, enjoy the video.
Sonic and the Black Knight launched at a funny time. March 3rd, 2009, 2 years after Secret Rings, and 5 months after Sonic Unleashed. And this put me in a weird place as a fan. We already had a handful of misses with Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog, and yeah, I know some people unironically like those games, I kinda do too, they're funny, but on consoles the quality just stopped flowing. I mean, I like Secret Rings, but it's not exactly the Sonic game I wanted at the time. A spin-off can be good, but if the core series isn't delivering, I don't think most people will care. And look, I appreciate Sonic Unleashed now. When it's reaching its highs, I think it has some of the best Sonic moments ever. But in 2008, I wasn't seeing that. I couldn't get past the Werehog. I found it tedious and boring, which is a feeling no other Sonic game has ever given me. I felt inconsistencies, I felt a lack of polish, but I've never felt bored. As a lifelong Sonic fan, I was starting to let go a little. Saying that though, this lasted approximately 1 year. Colors got me back on the train and I've been rolling with it ever since. Choo choo, let me off! So I didn't pay that much attention to 2009 Sonic games. I didn't get Black Knight day one, and when I eventually got around to playing it, I just kinda blasted through it as an obligation to catching up with the series and then I moved on. To be honest, I didn't go in with an open mind. I thought giving Sonic a sword was as silly as giving Shadow a gun, so I wasn't even trying. But things have changed since then. We've had Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations, and the Racing Trilogy, and Sonic Mania, and the DS version of Colors, that was pretty good. Sonic 4 Episode 2 isn't as bad as people say, and yeah, Sonic isn't exactly back on track, but I'm always optimistic for this little fella. Even if things go wrong every now and then, he is capable. He has the capacity to give me what I love, and I can see that in his eyes, regardless of the color. So let's go back in time 13 years to a surprisingly important footnote in Sonic's history. Sonic and the Black Knight is the end of an era in so many ways. I mean, it's the final game to feature the 4Kids cast from Sonic X, so Jason Griffith as Sonic and Shadow, Amy Pallant as Tails, Dan Green as Knuckles. The voice direction and performances as a whole are so much better than they were in Sonic X or the Shadow the Hedgehog days, and Jason, in particular, gives his all here. But it's more than just a farewell to the English voice cast. This is a farewell to the entire era. Shiro Maekawa is the writer of Sonic and the Black Knight. He isn't credited for some reason, but he is. And if you're not familiar with his name, you will know him as the writer of Sonic Adventure 2. Also, I was doing some digging, and this quote is irrelevant to everything else, but I found it very funny. Who is your favorite character in the Sonic series? Please tell us why. Shadow the Hedgehog. In fact, I also happen to be his creator, and there are times when I feel a stronger bond with him than my real relatives. He doesn't feel like a stranger anymore. I can't use Chaos Control though. This entire game feels like a farewell to the tone they've been building since the Dreamcast days, and that's pumped up even further by relying on the actual adventure soundtrack for a bunch of scenes. Whether it's something more calm, like Tails the Blacksmith playing Believe in Myself, or an awesome gallery of fan art submissions with It Doesn't Matter playing in the background. It all further pushes this as a farewell to everything that Sonic has been up until this point. It's a tonal goodbye to those who love this era of Sonic, and everything from writing to characterization, I think, is some of the best this series has ever been. Sonic, the character in Black Knight, is probably my favorite version of Sonic. But of course, this isn't a traditional Sonic story. It's still a storybook adaptation like Secret Rings, but this time in the world of King Arthur. And remember, it's not officially called the Storybook series, that's just an American thing. We will call it something else. We will call this the novel series. But man, look at this production! That Secret Rings money really stepped up the presentation. In this world, King Arthur has been corrupted by a dark magic and is chasing down Melina the Wizard, a descendant of Merlin. As a last resort, she pulls Sonic into her world to protect her, and that's a chili dog. I know you can buy them in a shop in Unleashed, but that's like a JPEG. He's full on holding them here. This is the first time video game Sonic has wielded the chili dog. They full on embrace the dog today, but back then, this was kinda wild. You might remember in Secret Rings I noted how Sonic entered the world, but his friends didn't, so how are they here playing roles? Well, you'll be asking that even more now, as he didn't even enter a story this time. He was just sucked into another world. Yet Blaze, Shadow, and Knuckles are all here. I mean, I don't really care, I'm just being that guy. Any game with Blaze is cool. It's not just the CG animation that was stepped up though. The hand-drawn stuff from Secret Rings is so much more lively. It's less comic panel this time and a bit more animated, but I just adore how they polished this style up. Nothing feels static about this, and again the voice acting and music are legitimately great. Hammer Fox in this cutscene compilation video says it best. Jesus, I had no idea the cutscenes in this game had Sonic's personality down so well. Like, this is Sonic! Hell yeah, Hammer Fox, this is Sonic! He's blue! Sonic here is confident but not obnoxious, caring but still optimistic, and all around just pretty damn cool. Even in a more serious medieval setting, he rolls as himself through a story that tries to take itself seriously, and it works to adapt those around him to his tone. I guess it's kinda like how Adventure 2 had a lot of dark elements, but Sonic and the gang are all like, "Hey Mr. President, hey hey hey!" It's the same feeling here. Anyway, to stand a chance against King Arthur, Sonic's going to need the Sacred Sword. So let's head across the land, and by that I mean do some tutorials. You may remember how Secret Rings had very literal tutorials, like here's the level for jumping, and here's the level for jumping but a bit higher, and here's the level for turning, and here's the level for turning backwards. Well, the biggest improvement Black Knight makes is feeling more organic, across the entire game. The first level is very much tutorial zone. I mean, there's no real enemies, it's just kind of a path forward. But in it you learn how to move, how to jump, how to use your sword, how to jump and use your sword. Everything Secret Rings took its sweet time doing is now done in under a minute. And wait a minute, zoom in on that frog. That's totally froggy. The game still looks like Secret Rings, right? I mean, you're still on a predetermined path that you can strafe along, and Sonic doesn't have a mouth. But this time, I mean, you're kinda on rails, and you're kinda not. The whole on-rails formula was obviously born out of a limitation set by the Wii Remote. They wanted to make a game around motion, so it made sense that acceleration was handled automatically. Now, this did introduce some hurdles of its own, like stopping or reversing, but for the most part, I'd say it worked. However, this time Black Knight ditches automated movement entirely, so you've got full control over Sonic with the nunchuck, and motion is just for the sword. Now, I've read the comments, and I know a lot of you wanted the nunchuck for Secret Rings because you didn't love how turning moved Sonic. But I kind of feel this is a confusing overlap for what the game is. Like, being on rails was necessary last time, and here, not so much. I feel like if you're going to give Sonic full control, we don't really need to be in this style anymore. I mean, maybe keeping him facing forward aids sword combat, but a lot of the time this just feels like a more corridory Sonic adventure. But what's here still works, even if the limitations make a bit less sense this time around. Though there's still a benefit to on-rails movement, it gives you a constant guided thrill. There's less platforming than even Secret Rings, but it's more about spectacle and set pieces, and I think that's kinda cool. Not what I want the Sonic series to constantly be, but for 2 spin-offs? Yeah, this works. And I say it's corridory, but for the most part it doesn't feel like that. The world Black Knight presents is huge. Massive fields, towns full of citizens, dungeons. Heck, they went so far with the theming of this game. This is Sonic without rings. Instead, you collect the equivalent by running through jars, like Zelda style, or collecting fairies to give you multiple rings. You won't grind rails, but rather javelins, or ropes, or tracks. And heck, even boosters have totally medieval designs. Secret Rings did nothing like this, and it's seriously cool. And another improvement is the upgrade system has been totally pulled out. So the Sonic you start with is basically the Sonic you end with. There's no need to unlock abilities that make you control better. That stuff is in the past, and it's for the better. And so like me, you may wonder what these items are when you finish a level, and the game will not tell you for a few more hours, and by that time it's nearly over. I guess for now it doesn't matter, but they do serve a purpose, I promise. God, this is such a good looking Wii game. I'm outright mad at myself that I didn't give this much of a chance back in the day. This is doing so much right for me. Anyway, we've been working with a rusty old sword for a little bit. It's time to get something a little more shiny and pull out Caliburn.
That's kinda sorry looking.
Fool!
Ah!
You are the chosen one. You are but a squire.
Oh yeah, it talks. You gotta remember, this was the era of sidekicks, so of course it talks. Oh, and here comes the final boss. That was quick. Man, the soundtrack in this game goes so hard. We've just started and it's blurting this thing. This rocks. Anyway, we beat him. Roll the credits. Oh, he's immortal. As long as King Arthur holds the sheath, we cannot defeat him. Yeah, the sword's irrelevant. It's all about the sheath. So we've still got some work to do, and Caliburn suggests visiting the Lady of the Lake. The mission structure at first may feel just like Secret Rings. I mean, this is the 3rd level we've ran through that looks pretty much the exact same, but it's nowhere near as aimless and it does get so much better. Everything we're doing is pushing the story forward, and these are entirely unique level designs. In fact, for the rest of the game, the mandatory levels are color-coded, so while it still has a bunch of missions like Secret Rings, such as Rampage, defeat 1 billion enemies, you can ignore most of them. This makes Black Knight a really short game, clocking in at around 2 hours and 40 minutes. But that runtime is consistently good. You can stretch it out to around 10 hours if you want to do everything, but I prefer this as just a small little fling. Caliburn must be presentable before he sees the Lady of the Lake, and thus we must go and find a blacksmith. So let's head to town, and man, this is a really cool setting, and our first proper showcase of swordplay. We've just kind of been hitting targets until now. I guess there was a dragon. I don't want to downplay the dragon, but you just kind of whack its horn. Just a little dragon. Going into this game, I thought giving Sonic a sword was a terrible idea. Surely it's just going to break all his momentum and slow him down. And whenever Sonic focuses on combat, it's rarely good. The most enjoyable Sonic enemies to defeat go down in a single hit. Yet, I do like this. The sword goes hand in hand with the pace of the game. Sure, there are a few enemies that require a bit more strategy, like blocking to parry, or the big boys that take a few hits, but your average grunts can just be slashed through while you're sprinting along. It feels really good. You don't even need to defeat them, you can just jump and slash your way through. I mean, the homing attack is here, but it's more useless than it's ever been ever. It can clear platforming gaps, but it's not really a combat utensil. They want you slicing things up. So this does mean that Black Knight can get a bit waggly. I find the encounters are paced out well enough so it doesn't get too exhausting, but you'll absolutely be swinging this thing around a lot, and I know that will outright ruin the game for some people. With that said, you do need to be a bit reserved. There's a cool inspiration from the House of the Dead of all things, where you lose points for hitting civilians. These guys are actually a little important, as some of them will call out to you to trade rings for items. If you hit them, they will not talk to you. I mean, you still don't know what items actually do, but this kinda motivates you to not swing around constantly. I've never ran through a Sonic stage with a populated town before. It's like if Station Square were an action stage. This was great, and it's topped off by another great thing, the introduction of Tails. The Sonic characters in Black Knight are more than just there for story roles this time around. You can talk to Tails at any point throughout the adventure, as he is your blacksmith. At this point he allows you to equip items, and for a moment I was like, oh no, the upgrade system's back. But no, these just grant you small benefits, like this one gets you even more items. What do items do? So even if at this point Tails doesn't seem to do that much, I still appreciated it for this song. And I'm gonna play it again, baby. Now that Caliburn's been polished up, he actually has a brand new power, and this is pretty much the soul gauge from Secret Rings, but good. You might remember there it either slowed down time, which had very little use, or it let you boost, which often killed you. But now there's just one very elegant use. Once your meter fills up, you can use the Soul Surge, which boosts you to the next enemy unless you take them out with a powerful blow of your sword. So this is both a boost and a super form of combat, all in one. I mean, it can break the pace if you just use it for regular grunts, because it's just faster to just slash at them regularly, but for the big boys and the speedrunning opportunities, this is very good. You know, there's very little I dislike about Black Knight. I don't think the on-rails gameplay is really to its benefit, but everything from flow to pacing to tone is solid. The stages are quite simple, but they're the most grounded Sonic levels ever, and I really don't think this deserves the scores it got back in the day. Like a 54 meta score? Worse than Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed on 3DS? This thing? Anyway, who's ready for some Sonic Adventure 2 music, baby?
Who the heck are you? Shadow? I am Lancelot, Knight of the Round Table. I challenge you to a duel!
This is what I meant about the characters being more than just for story this time. Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze all have proper fleshed out roles, and this is only scratching the surface. But yeah, we get proper boss fights against them. And check it out, another Crush 40 song. I noted that Secret Rings had more bad butt rock than any other Sonic game, and that was kind of a compliment. Kinda not, but Black Knight outright has good butt rock, and likewise, a lot of it. 3 brand new Crush 40 songs and banging tracks everywhere. Whether it's the main theme, the credits song, or just boss music, this is good stuff. And again, end of an era. Cash Cash would take over for Colors, and Crush 40 would become less and less of a staple of Sonic. So the boss battle, the Shadow boss, is fine. You just kinda guard, and then attack, there's not much to it. Caliburn says you should have killed him though.
Why did you not deal him the final blow?
Jesus. Well, now it's time to meet the Lady of the Lake, played by Amy Rose. She basically tells us the key to defeating King Arthur is to collect the 3 swords of the Round Table, and we've already got one. So off we go to explore more of the world and collect more swords.
Check it out! You'll be calling me sir before you know it!
Oh no, that's a kink. There's some really cool moments, like shooting an arrow onto a statue that crumbles through the wall and then you grind on the rope like a rail and break into a dungeon. Like that's cool! There is a bit in here though that feels like it should have been optional, like there's a mandatory level about giving rings to citizens. Look at this fast-paced action. Still, it's over pretty quickly, and there aren't that many levels like this. Most mandatory ones are just raw speed levels. And man, this open field looks incredible! This is on the Wii! Sometimes these levels let you move so fast. This is way beyond what Secret Rings even let you do. And that game was also pretty speedy. But who's ready for another boss fight? Let me tell you, you are not ready for what's about to happen. I don't think any character boss is particularly good in this game. It's just kind of about guarding and then attacking. But this still stands out, and words can't describe it, so I'll just show you.
I have been disgraced! Only death can remove this stain upon
Knuckles, no! What? What is this rated? It doesn't say anything about Knuckles attempting to kill himself. What? How do we move on from this? Can we move on from this? You know, as much as I've been enjoying Black Knight, I do think some levels start to blur together a little. I mean, Secret Rings had drastically different areas and themes, whether it was an oasis, Dino in the jungle, riding a magic carpet through a castle. Black Knight is more fitting to its themes, but at the same time, this level just kinda starts in a grassy field, and we just ran through one. I mean, the grass is darker here, so that's different. And then we go into a cave, which feels kinda similar to the dungeon we just ran through. This feeling came up a few times. I mean, they're totally new level designs led by totally new story beats, but when you're already a very short game, you don't exactly want to be retreading themes or even areas again. That said, this cavern isn't bad. Instead of breaking jars for rings, you now mine crystals by running and breaking through them. And this game doesn't have springs, instead there are mushrooms that make you go all bouncy. That's pretty rad, and to be fair to this level's theme, there definitely are moments with visual identity. It is still kinda similar, but there's nothing quite like this in the rest of the game. But do you know what this game's been lacking? A mission where you free citizens by stopping a ray of light and pointing at a crystal and breaking the crystal and freeing the people. Oh damn, this game has everything! Yeah, there's a few low points. The next level totally stands on its own though. A blazing setting with a red sky, railway tracks you can grind on, and the game tells you to jump over the enemies on the rails, but blocking kept the pace up way better. This is much more like it. There's been nothing like this so far. And all this fire reminds me of someone.
the cat.
Thanks, Crunchy DS Audio. How are we gonna defeat her?
By blocking and attacking!
Yeah, nice one, kids!
Sonic the Hedgehog, you have mastered the code of chivalry. From this day forth, you shall be Sir Sonic, Knight of the Wind.
That's the name of the theme song! Yeah! Now that we have all 3 swords of the knights, we can take on King Arthur, and this fight is a little bitch. It's actually really easy when you know what you're doing, but I did not know what I was doing, so I flailed around and failed a lot. So what you do is you fill up your meter by hitting these things, and then you boost towards King Arthur and reflect his attacks. But I felt like I just couldn't do it. Like, it's really similar to the first encounter where you reflect his sword when it lights up. And I did that just fine at the start of the game, but here? No! What you actually have to do is not wait until it lights up, but wait until the Wii Remote icon appears. Otherwise, he just attacks you. I mean, it lights up just like it did at the start of the game, but that is not good enough. Wait for the Wii Remote. I do not believe anyone who did this without failing at least once. Those people are liars. The first phase, maybe? Like, maybe you understood that you're meant to do it when the icon appears? But the second phase, no way. No way did you do that. Like, look at this. Wait for the icon. Yeah, there it is. Wait for the icon. There it is. What? Wait, what? No! That was so fast! You've got to be so fast with that third waggle. But eventually, the end.
Yes! I did it!
Oh, that's weird. Usually these games have 2 CG cutscenes. Oh, there it is. Twist time! Melina is evil. She wants everything to last forever and for the story to never end. It's kind of foreshadowed earlier. There's this very odd moment where she stops and picks up a flower and says something about it growing only to die. And Sonic goes, huh? But Sonic eventually wants to feel the sweet embrace of death, and he won't have any of this. Everyone's gotta die! Sonic ends up teaming up with the Knights of the Round Table, and in 4 newly selectable levels, you can actually play as any of them. Sonic, Knuckles, Blaze, and Shadow. Again, end of an era. From here on, any other playable character is usually just another version of Sonic, or, pretty much Sonic, but a little bit different. But very weirdly, it's just these 4 levels. Like, you can't go back to the rest of the game as Shadow or Blaze, and don't ask me why, I really don't know. I think we kind of learned the wrong lesson from playable characters. It wasn't that we didn't want them, it's that we didn't want bad ones. Like Sonic and Shadow and Tails and even Knuckles, like those were always fine. But even if they're all speedy here in Black Knight, they're certainly not all equal. Shadow plays pretty much like Sonic, but he's a bit more flashy with slower swordplay. Heck, his boost is Chaos Control from Shadow the Hedgehog. And very disappointingly, Blaze is the worst. The homing attack is stripped out for a double jump, and this just really isn't better. It's much slower, it covers less ground, and it doesn't really aid with platforming. There were certain traps in this snow level that Blaze just had trouble even clearing, but as Sonic and Shadow, you can just homing attack through them. But to be completely transparent and honest, I use Knuckles for most of these levels because he can glide. Like look, he can just go over everything. Is it cheap? Sure. Will you get a low rating for avoiding all the combat? Oh yeah, still did it. And hey, the item system even finally opened up after the credits. So all these items you've been collecting over the course of the entire game, they can be crafted into brand new weapons for the Round Table characters. They're really giving you a lot of options for these final 4 levels, huh? There's totally some confused stuff in here. All these options should have come way earlier on, and it makes little sense to have these characters, but only in these specific zones. But damn, it still leaves a pretty great last impression. At one point I was feeling this game was getting a bit too samey, but then it went nope, new characters, new settings, new abilities, and new options everywhere, just for the final hour or so. So we complete all these levels with any character we want, being Knuckles, have each of them place their blades in separate parts of the kingdom, and that grants us a chance of taking down Melina, who's now a goth girl. And she destroys Caliburn! I didn't really have a strong relationship with you, but oh no. But goth girl didn't account for the power of friendship.
Sonic!
The long-lost light of the sacred sword! Quick, your swords!
the final boss may look exactly like Secret Rings. I mean, is this the same purple void? You just reflect some attacks, which I now know you do when the Wii Remote icon appears and not when it flashes. That fills up your meter and you deal a bunch of blows. And that's pretty much it. Sonic obviously has his new super form. In the last one it was Darkspine Sonic, and now it's Excalibur Sonic. I don't really have that many opinions on this design. It's fine, it's a little bit goofy looking.
Over now.
There's nothing Excalibur can't cut through.
But
Melina has learned her lesson of not trying to destroy the kingdom and somehow make everything last forever by crumbling and killing everyone. And just like Secret Rings, Sonic does not go home, so we just have to assume he lives here forever. Oh, and he's King Arthur, so he lives here forever as a king. Roll the credits with a banging theme. I was a fool for not giving this game the time of day when it was new. It didn't seem like it would be good. I mean, it followed the Werehog game. Sonic had a sword. I almost didn't want to give it a chance, but that was totally wrong. I can see why some wouldn't care for the motion controls, and me myself, I have issues with the variety every now and then. And maybe paying full price when this was new was a hard pill to swallow, especially for a very, very short game. But today, we can divide it from that. Black Knight goes for peanuts. I don't just think this is an overlooked Sonic game, I think it's damn good. It's not up there with my favourites, but in many ways, it feels like a love letter to them. It's one of those sequels that improves upon pretty much every shortcoming of the original, and maybe sticking to the on-rails formula wasn't entirely necessary, but it still worked. Black Knight is a good Sonic game. What do you mean there's multiplayer? So this is no longer a Mario Party clone like in Secret Rings, and now we've got a bird's eye view multiplayer hack and slash. In some of them you smack each other, and in other ones you smack other people. It's okay. I don't know what else to say, this is kind of a bummer note to end the video on. So yeah, I like Sonic and the Black Knight. It's not amazing, but I don't think this comes close to the 54 Metascore. There's a lot of really cool things going on, to the theming, to the soundtrack, to just the cool vibe that it constantly captures. This, in my opinion, is a good Sonic game. Is it one of the best Sonic games ever? Nah, but I think it does a lot of cool things that many Sonic fans will love. It's like my friend Sonic Ultimate 20 always says. The game does not suck. The gameplay is fluent and responsive. Jason Griffith has really stepped us his game since Sonic 06. The graphics are gorgeous and beautiful. Not as good as Unleashed because of less powerful hardware. The music is just amazing. Seriously, I'm writing this review, and I am listening to the Crush 40 version of With Me. I really enjoy the King Arthur story considering that I am British. So everyone, stop hating on this game! Just like Shadow the Hedgehog, 06, Riders, Heroes, yes, I like all those games. Hell, I like all of Sonic, including R. So come get me, if you want. 2 out of 4 people found this review helpful. I swear, I didn't write that. It just so happens both Sonic Ultimate 20 and I are British, and we both feel very passionate about Sonic R.